In November of 2006, about 5 to 7 Simpich character dolls were wrapped up in the doll shop, placed in this box, and have sat untouched, unopened ever since. Now, nearly 20 years later, I am going to have the honor and potentially a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for myself to unbox a brand new set of Carollers. Now, we don't know the condition of these pieces as it has been 20 years. We actually don't even know the models that are in the box at this time. So join me as we discover what is inside this pretty large box and enjoy actually getting to unwrap some Carollers that were wrapped by the doll shop, truly, hopefully, in like new condition. When the doll shop closed in 2006, I was actually just about 8 years old at the time. So a lot of the flurry of events that were happening that last Christmas, the lines wrapping around the block, all of the people buying out, as a matter of fact, buying every last piece they had in their inventory. They didn't have a single one remaining when they finally closed officially in February of 2007. I was still too young to really know what was going on or to be involved in any real way. Since then, I have been deeply involved with the Simpich character doll enterprise, working with the secondary market ever since about 2016. So, for about half of the time since the doll shop closed, I have been pretty much full-time working with the Simpich character dolls, and through that time frame, I have never had the honor to experience what many of my collectors have had many opportunities to do, which is unbox a new set of pieces. Now, this particular set is not mine. I'm actually only unboxing it to inspect these pieces because whatever's in this box, assuming that it is in amazing shape, I'm going to have the honor to list it on our website. And we're going to find out kind of what they're going to be worth, how unique, how special these pieces really are. Like I said at the intro of the video, I don't even know what's in this box. I have some hunches. The owner kind of remembers some things, but in the flurry of the event, he picked up a few extra pieces and never needed to display these particular ones. So it's really cool to think that in this box there could be some pieces that are waiting for their very first Christmas to be on display. So without further ado, let's cut this box open and discover what Simpich pieces are in this box. I am actually kind of very excited. For all the years I've worked with the Simpich character dolls, this is my first opportunity to unbox them from the doll shop. So you can see here on the box, I actually do want to talk about the box a little bit before we get into it. There is some writing on the box here. You can see where he says new set. This is writing, put on the box by the previous owners of the box, as they just wanted to keep track of what's in this white nondescript box. And that kind of feeds into something I want to talk about first. What is this box? Many of you may be familiar, long-term collectors, people who collected back when the doll shop was open. They're familiar with the white boxes that are about this tall, about this wide. They usually have a little golden sticker on them that says Simpich character dolls, something along those lines. This is actually what you would have seen dolls usually shipped in, are these white cardboard boxes. At its base, it's really just a basic cardboard box, but they got them with this nice kind of white finish on the outside. This is absolutely accurate. I've seen many of these boxes over the years, usually in much worse shape, I must say. While this box does have a couple bumps and bruises on it, and like I mentioned before, a little bit of writing on it by the owner, there's nothing on this box from an exterior, kind of looking at it from the exterior, that would suggest to me that these pieces have seen any sort of water damage. I don't smell any smoke on the piece. I don't believe it was in a smoking home. home at any point during the last 20 years that they've just been waiting to be opened. So that's just kind of a starting baseline, right? Because I do have a lot of people message me about all kinds of things on Simpich.com, including unopened Simpich character dolls. And I have to be honest with you, this is the first time I really believe that they haven't been opened, just based off of the external box, the tape, everything on it just looks, getting to meet and talk to the previous owners. Of course, when we break into the box, we'll have more information once we see how the pieces are wrapped and stuff. So without further ado, let's crack this box open and get into what we can find inside. This is a pretty exciting moment for me. I feel like I've been kind of going around trying to figure out what the right thing to say would be for being able to open an unopened box of Carollers, but I think the thing to do is just cut it open and get started. Wow. So, this is what I'm looking at from the inside here. You can see this tissue paper wrapped. This is not how they would have, while this is probably what they would have shipped, they would have shipped the dolls in a box like this. They would have had packing peanuts and stuff. The owner of these pieces was local and bought a whole collection at once. My guess is by November of 2006, they were running out of those original Caroller boxes and stuff. So they probably just put the collection in this box here for his ease of carrying them home. And of course, whoever wrapped these at the doll shop did not have any clue that they would not be open for 20 years. So just looking at the top here, it looks like we've got a couple Carollers maybe right at the top, so I'm excited to take a look here. But I see one piece right here, nestled here in the corner, that I think is the perfect place to start. So when you're unwrapping Simpich Carollers, I oftentimes recommend locate the stand, because that's what you really want to be holding, to make sure you don't have any sort of issues. Packing and unpacking any sort of Simpich character doll is definitely the moment something's going to go wrong. So taking your time, being super careful with the process, it really is worth it. Whether you're receiving a doll from eBay or whether you're receiving a doll from our online store, the utmost care should be taken during those transition moments when you're wrapping a piece up, and even maybe particularly when you're unwrapping a piece, to ensure that you don't accidentally add some sort of damage through the process. So this tissue paper makes a lot of sense for it to be authentic from the doll shop. It's ever so slightly off-colored from being 20 years old, but honestly, it's in incredible condition. You can barely see any discoloration to the paper, and that just supports that this box just straight up has not been opened at all. It hasn't seen any sunlight, it hasn't been exposed to moisture or a lot of different temperature environments, stuff like that. This is an excellent sign. So let's get into the piece. A nice double wrapping. I think we have a snowball boy here. Wow. That is so cool. Okay, so there's some fun stuff about this piece straight off. You'll have to excuse me because I'm probably going to nerd out a bit as we go through here, talking about all these different character dolls. But you can notice his snowball. I'm going to bring your attention right here This is the nicest condition snowball I have ever seen, bar none. It actually still has some of the original sparkles on the snowball itself. That is so neat to see. The hat here suffers tremendously from fading. It's one of the #1 issues I've observed, and once again you can see a super even tone across and a little bit of a sheen. He of course still has his little fluff there. I mean, this piece is in incredible shape. The stand's amazing, very little dust, and this is actually really cool too. Looking at the bottom of the stand, you can see right here, 2006. That is an extremely rare thing to see, because throughout 2006, I'm going to set him here, throughout 2006, they were already in the process of ramping down production. So the official announcement, hey, we're going to be closing down, came out in 2005. And there was such a tremendous kind of outcry from the community of orders and intensity and people just showing their passion for the Simpich character dolls that they stayed open for an entire extra year just to fulfill these orders, which could be, which makes these pieces even rarer. I notate this snowball here as a great example of actually a snowball edition I've very rarely, if ever, seen. There's a chance we're going to see more really fun little tweaks and additions to that sort of that final level that they reached with the Simpich character dolls. I mean, this was the end. This was the final designs they ever created, and it's really going to be exciting to see. So we have a snowball boy. Let's see what we can find next. Actually don't know yet. I think it may be a flute player. Oh man, I don't know how many of you guys out there know about flute players' hands and how fragile they are, but if you know, you know. Let's see what he's like here. Wow, the green coat is in fantastic shape. Anytime I'm opening a flute player is a stressful moment because of just how fragile these guys are. They're intricate little sculpted pieces, the sculpted hands in particular, with the flute, the metal flute kind of going through them. It's like the perfect storm for just that flute to get knocked and a thumb or a pinky or a whole half of a hand kind of break off. It's really a tremendous problem. I want to showcase here for all of you. Look at how the doll shop wrapped him. They sent this singular piece up and around. See how easy it is to remove, but how absolutely protected that was? That's really cool. And then we'll bring it here. I'm going to do this part up close. But you'll note that they put a little bit of tissue paper between the flute and his face. That's genius. You've got to do this when you store your Simpich Carollers for the rest of the year. You've got to take this little detail and apply that to how you store your Simpich flute player. It's a really important little detail here. So let me carefully remove. Wow. Okay. This is cool. If I wasn't certain already they'd never been opened before, now I am 100% certain these pieces have not seen the light of day since they were in the doll shop in 2006. The positioning of the piece is something we can go on and on about because, as many collectors know, these pieces have wire bodies, and it's It's really important to their durability and displayability that they have the wire bodies. It allows us as people who love to display these pieces and enjoy them to be able to display them in lots of different environments and positions and things. However, over the years of being taken out and packed away and all these different things that happen, we do experience that kind of wire body getting out of shape and the position not being exactly what was originally intended. The shoulders can drop. The legs often get straightened out, I've discovered. I think people get a little too zealous when they're packing them and they kind of straighten their legs out. The pieces lean forward or they lean back, and it can make them feel unbalanced. I actually think this is a large cause of damage to the pieces, is that they get kind of they kind of get changed around, pushed forward, pushed back, straight-legged, and then they're out of balance. Like, this piece is super stable on his stand. His knees are wonderfully bent, and his coat is just in incredible condition. I mean, I would note that it's very common with his green coat to have it be a couple shades off from front to back. So, for example, the front of the piece will be a little bit less faded than the back because the piece was displayed in a windowsill for a number of years. That would be one problem. I mean, the tone's exactly the same all the way across. His hat has not been crushed. That's another huge issue, especially with flute players, is their hats get crushed. I mean, this hat is in perfect shape. There's no paint chips. I mean, this is just, wow. Honestly, I'm kind of blown away how different they look than your standard caroller that I get the opportunity to unbox. It's kind of stunning. What a neat piece to find right on top there. I bet whoever packed it knew they didn't want another caroller lying on top of the flute player, so he needed to be right on the top of the box to keep him in this incredible condition. This really is amazing to see. All right, what else do we have in here? I'm thinking this could be, I don't know, a lantern man, I think. I'm actually, after seeing how they packed the flute player, I'm actually really curious to see how the doll shop would pack the lantern man's lantern. The lantern is legendary for chopping off the lantern man's mutton chops. People will kind of adjust his arm, or just through the process of years, he's supposed to be holding the lantern way out like this, but over the years it'll get sort of moved in, and then he'll get pulled out of the box or picked up suddenly, and the lantern will swing up and hit him in the face, scratching the paint, even chipping his face, like literally chipping chunks off of his face. So I'm really curious to see how they did this. Well, unsurprisingly, his face was not hit by his lantern. And it looks like what they did was they just started with the lantern here and then started wrapping around so that there was this separation between him, between the lantern and his face here. I'll be curious to see if it misses as you swing it, because that's the other important thing to ensure, is that check that as you bring it up towards his face here, does it miss? Then you're doing great. That's a huge thing I always want to point out to people. Wow, this guy's in great shape as well. The reds are just popping super, super nice. The hat on the Snowball Boy, the gloves, kind of contrasting with the green on the flute player, and now the gloves and the scarf on this guy as well. Red is one of the most susceptible to fading and dust and some of these different things. I find that color, with maybe the exception of green, but green's a little less common. Green's mostly just on the flute player. Red does really great job. This is just amazing. I mean, when I'm going through a piece trying to figure out what condition it's in, especially with character dolls like the Core 7, which each of these pieces are a part of. We're kind of hoping, I'm very much hoping that there's 4 more pieces in this box. We'll see, so that we have a complete set in this condition. And he also says 2006 on the bottom. Let's check this guy. I'm not sure if I had. Yes, so you can see 2006. We've got a consistent year. I think a lot of people will go to simpich.com, the website that I run, and the website these pieces will be listed on as well. Link in the description below if you want to explore. And they'll be kind of surprised, like, hey, why aren't there just tons of the Core 7 Carollers on here? Shouldn't there be many Core 7 Carollers? And the truth is yes, they are the most common. But the truth is many Core 7 Carollers have not seen as easy of a life as many of the rarer, harder to locate ones. I'm sure there's a number of contributing factors to that. You know, the initial investment was lower. These pieces were more commonly gifts. People would give to each other or give to family members, stuff like that. Over the years, it's really hard to find good shape pieces, ones that really meet that like heirloom quality that I'm looking for when I look at these pieces. You know, pieces that are in that what you would expect to see if you would purchase them from the doll shop. That's kind of what pristine and heirloom look like to me. This is it. I have never had the honor of selling a Caroller set or even interacting with a Caroller set that's in this pristine a shape. I mean, this is just incredible. Even the positioning, he's got that bent at the knees, leaning back slightly, head tilted back. I mean, that's exactly the way Bob and Jan's is positioned, and they would reset their positioning every Christmas when they brought their collection out, as would David and Debbie Simpich and all the other Simpiches as well. I mean, this is just wonderful. The arm is slightly separated. I could go on and on about little details here and there, but we should probably keep going. Interesting. We have like a different texture, like a thicker filler piece here that isn't quite as fine as the tissue paper. It's interesting to see. Oh, I think we have a fat man. So, one of the most iconic Simpich character doll designs is the Fat Man. Just like the Lantern Man and the Muff Lady and a couple other of the Core 7 Carollers, his inspiration goes all the way back to the very original Simpich character dolls, which were not designed to be a produced art piece. They were made as gifts for Bob and Jan's, the founders, my grandparents, Bob and Jan Simpich's parents themselves, when they went home to Missouri. This guy's origins go all the way back there. Not necessarily his iconic mustard-colored coat, but definitely the overall piece goes back there. I'm excited to see what this guy looks like. Owners of this piece will know the songbook can have some issues over time, so I'm going to be very interested to see, you know, what that piece might have looked like straight out of the doll shop, and also the exact tone of his jacket. Wow. He has the stuffing, which we'll see with the Muff Lady as well, I'm sure, to keep this from getting crushed and wrinkled. Wow. Take a look at this example. Beautiful condition. And look at this songbook. So good. No turning or chipping. Chipping's the wrong word, but if you've looked at, you know, your collection, or if you've looked at a lot of collections online and stuff, you've probably noticed that the tips of the songbook, here and here in particular, get damaged, turned. It takes very little to just damage them a little bit. And then you get under the black finish and you see a little bit of the white underneath, and they just look dog-eared. a little bit. And you'll also notice when you're looking around online that the song sheet that he is singing from is slightly peeled off. Exactly what causes that to happen, I wouldn't be able to tell you, unfortunately, but this is a really neat piece, a really unique opportunity to get to see, and he also has 2006 as his edition year on the bottom of his stand. Wow, what a neat piece. Now, many of you will have noticed this in the past, but for those of you who don't know, the song sheets actually do have an actual Christmas carol. After all, they are the Christmas Carollers. And you get to know what song they are actively singing. And that comes directly from the Fat Man himself. They are singing "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen." And you can see the lyrics to that song on his song sheet. I just love the little details, from the front when they're displayed. You're not necessarily going to see the song sheet itself. It would be fine if it was just little lettering or kind of nondescript musical notes or something, but no, they made a 2-scale music sheet for the song that Bob and Jan Simpich envisioned them singing in the moment that the Simpich Carollers capture. Incredible shape. I am noticing some interesting details on this guy. For starters, his hat is in amazing shape. The hats on these particular guys tend to fade really bad. They turn kind of gray. Of course, he has his little bit of holly festiveness on his hat as well. Very important. His dark red. I mean, amazing. So we've got 4 of the 7. Do we have 3 more? Oh, I think we know what this piece is. The bell ringer. Wow, I was wondering what would her edition be? What would the last edition have been? So, for those of you out there who don't know, the bell ringer is one of the most iconic designs the Simpich Carollers ever did. Besides maybe the Muff Lady and the Lantern Man here, she is number 1 on a lot of lists. As a matter of fact, there's a larger version of her called Merry Christmas that was sold as sort of a one-off piece. People could access just this one piece as part of their displays. Wow, this is pretty cool. A lot of the pieces in the 2000s, towards the end of production, had white trim, this white trim all the way around. And this piece here, as you can see, has the black trim, which is much rarer than the white trim. Now, I have to say, I personally am not certain if the white trim was, say, something they did to all of the pieces between 2000 and 2005 or something, and the black trim was just a short time after that. I have to say my hunch is I think they made probably about 70 to 80% with the white trim, and about, let's say, the remaining percentage, the remaining 20 to 30% with the black trim. But it's really cool to see this piece here. And once again, the details. Her skirt is just as much attention has been taken to her skirt, which is almost entirely covered by her coat. I love the details on these pieces. They just cut absolutely no corners through the process of creating them. And once again, you can hear the bell works as it should. All right, well, I'm thinking we probably are going to get a Core 7 set of Carollers, but you never know what may be left in this box. think we may be looking at a mandolin man. Wow. This stunning. So black, similar to green, like I mentioned earlier, has issues with fading. That's maybe the worst color, but the worst fabric of all for fading is black, just like the black hat here on the Fat Man. And wow, no difference front to back. You guys can see absolutely no difference. The mandolin has no paint chips on it. Check the inside too. One thing I'll note with these guys that I've seen a lot of is paint chipping across the strings. And I think it's because people will take his hand and strum. Don't do that. I think you can leave it to the mandolin man to do the strumming of God Rest Us Merry Gentlemen here. And of course, 2006 as well on his edition year. A really fun detail. Details, guys. It's crazy the level of detail that's on these pieces. Everyone hand painted, all of the clothing handmade. It's impressive. But you can see another classic Christmas carol is represented on his mandolin. It says, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord." Somebody with a little tiny brush and a little bit of black paint went in and filled out every one of those letters in this singular mandolin. I mean, that, I don't know. I don't think they make things quite like they used to anymore these days. So we've got 6. And it looks like we've got 1 piece left in the box. Once again, Simpich fans will know with almost certainty what I'm holding in my hands, and that this is perhaps one of the most iconic, probably the most iconic Simpich character doll ever created, and that is the Muff Lady. They had a lot of fun with her dress, and I just got a sight of the pattern. Very unique. They did all kinds of different things, all different kinds of patterns and fun stuff. Wow, look at the feather. We got a little crushed under there over the years, but it's still in fantastic shape. Just needed a little nudge out there. And look at how fluffy and white. I'll notate even particularly right around her neck here. And this piece, many of the other ones show this as well, but she does a fantastic job of showcasing this. Look at the cheeking on her cheeks. You can see she has red cheeks, like she's out in the cold. That actually is over the top of the paint and is very commonly rubbed off. And people don't miss it because it doesn't look like it's a paint chip because the skin tone's underneath it. But that's actually something David Simpich is a designer, son of Robert and Jan Simpich. It's one of the things he's the biggest stickler about. If I ever get a piece restored by him for the website, he's always making sure that their cheeking is in perfect condition. And this is a pretty well-known Simpich character doll storage technique, but you will note she does have this tissue paper under her dress here. That just helps it keep its shape over the past 19 years, because if they had just crushed the dress, I mean, it would take a good amount of time to get all those wrinkles out and to make it look as fantastic as it does straight out of the box. This piece has a bunch of different condition stuff that I'm always looking out for. the braids on the back of her head, any sort of backwards fall, they are done. They're done for. This is incredible. Another thing you can do with, if you're ever looking at purchasing one, or if you're looking at one when you open the box, you can use the folds to find out just how faded the pieces actually are. It can be surprisingly hard, and I've been talking about that all day, but she's a great one for that. You can just stretch out the fabric. As long as the colors stay consistent, you've got a fantastic piece. Wow. So here we have a complete set of Simpich Carollers. What a find. This is cool. All their colors in fantastic shape, all their paintwork is in fantastic shape, their clothes are in fantastic shape. I mean, you are not going to find a better conditioned group of Simpich Carollers in 2026, bar none. There is always a chance, there could be another collection out there in a box that could be this good. Pretty unlikely anyone would find that at this time, as over the past decade of working with the Simpich Carollers, I have never had the opportunity to unbox them new like I have today. But there is one more thing. While I was visiting with the owner of these pieces, who after watching this video may not be willing to sell their collection anymore, because it is just in amazing shape, I would not be surprised. But there's one more piece that we located as we were discussing and talking about things. He had a memory. He's like, oh yes, there's one more thing that I do have. And I'm really curious to see if it works. It's another box. Now this will be included with the collection. I believe it was also purchased in 2006. We'll see if it says on the bottom of the stand or not. Many of you Simpich fans, yet again, will have a pretty good idea of what might be in this box. I'm really excited to see, how did the Simpich Character Doll Shop get these in here back in the day? Right, we have packing peanuts. This was likely packed so it could ship, and because of the presence of these iconic old-fashioned packing peanuts. These are the old plastic ones. So you can see here they make these S's that they had in so many of the Simpich character dolls were safely transported across the state and across the country and across the world due to these S little packing peanuts and the E's, the S and the E's. These days we are not able to access these kinds of packing peanuts anymore because they're synthetic and non-biodegradable, and they just don't make them available for purchase anymore, so we have to use these biodegradable ones. But these match exactly what I would have expected to see directly from the doll shop, which is so much fun to see. They used this composite of different shapes, and they kind of interlock together and make all these really interesting support to make sure the piece does not shift around in the box. They also have a tendency to go everywhere, as many of you may also know from unpacking these pieces. So, straight from the doll shop, you would have gotten your Simpich lamppost with its light bulb already installed. That's pretty neat. All right, this is actually a really fun opportunity to show everyone everything that a Simpich lamppost should include, because it has everything and how it is supposed to be displayed. So, you have 4 of these little pieces here. Very commonly, what I will see is what I call them naked lampposts. They don't have all the stuff on the top they're supposed to have. And some people, I've even recommended at some points, it may be worth your time to just glue these guys in place, because you can still access the lamp bulb really well. But of course, that was not the way the doll shop did things. You will notice here you have a frosted side and a glossy side. You want glossy side out. Notably, you want the glossy side out behind. I want to point out as well, notate on if you ever get to have one of these with all the pieces, note that there's one side that has texture and one side that doesn't. You definitely want the textured side out. The finishing touch. And there you have a fully assembled Simpich lamppost. And now for the piece de resistance. Does it work? Wow. There it is. Still shining all these years later, ready to celebrate its very first Christmas still. Wow. A lot of these over the years have seen, some electrical work issues, stuff like that. So seeing one, such amazing shape with the original light bulb supplied by the doll shop, that is fun. So what we have discovered today is, bar none, the best condition Simpich Caroller collection I have ever had the honor to see. Even the ones in the Simpich archive have seen many Christmases of displaying and little thises and that's that have happened to them over the years. But this is something truly special. A complete set in, I will say it, new condition. They aren't like new, they are new. They have absolutely no condition notes to speak of. These are in fantastic shape. If you are interested in this collection or a collection similar to it, you can visit Simpich.com. Simpich.com is the home of the Simpich character doll business and where I work year-round to forward the legacy of Robert and Jan Simpich's creations. There's so much to learn there, and if you're new to the Simpich character dolls, the Simpich family, the Simpich legacy, I implore you to go to Simpich.com and explore all you can. There's a ton of details on there from over 54 years of production, and I have been putting lots of articles up on there with details about different Simpich character dolls. They made many, many, many designs. Of a matter of fact, this is the core 7 Caroller set because there is over 20 more pieces that make up the full collection when you have absolutely every last piece. But I have to say, in 2026, 20 years after the production ceased, I don't think there's a better place to start a Simpich Caroller collection than right here with this incredible set of Simpich Carollers. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this, and be sure to sign up for the Simpich Character Doll newsletter and be the first to know about amazing finds and more stories from the Simpich Character Dolls.